It is one of the most dangerous professions in existence. These heroes are the ones who run through traffic to rescue victims from fires and some of the most grotesque accidents ever recorded. We're talking, of course, about firefighters. They often face unspeakable scenes, so brutal that, like any human being, they need therapy and psychological treatment afterward. It's no surprise that many firefighters end up suffering from post-traumatic stress. Because it's not just fire, blood, and violence. Sometimes they're also exposed to the inexplicable. Many firefighters have shared experiences on Reddit, X, and Facebook threads, stories that defy reason and have marked them forever. From everything we've read, we've selected what we believe are the 7 most disturbing, most sinister, and most unsettling accounts. Get yourself ready, because these are the 7 most disturbing stories ever told by firefighters. Number 7. Late at night, a team of firefighters responds to an automatic smoke alarm in a completely empty house under construction. They sweep the dark corners with flashlights as the alarm blares on. No fire, no visible smoke, but one of them feels a nearby presence and hears breathing beneath the noise. Fresh footprints in the dust and a recently moved paint can make it clear someone was there not long ago. The team leaves with trembling hands, convinced this was no ordinary false alarm. Back at the truck, every single one of them mentions the same feeling. Something was watching them from the shadows. No one saw a clear figure, but when the alarm was finally silenced, the sudden quiet sent ice through their veins. That half-built structure seemed to shelter something that didn't belong to the visible world. The firefighter who lived through it has avoided nighttime construction sites ever since. Years later, when similar stories are shared at the station, the veterans simply nod in silence. Calls to empty buildings in the early hours of the morning generate more fear than many actual fires. Number 6. A fire investigation office operated out of an old fire station that had been shut down years earlier. There was a rumor that someone, a firefighter or a civilian, had died on the back steps. The basement door would unlock on its own and swing open with a creak, even when it had been locked. In the kitchen, cutlery and glasses would appear moved shortly after being put away. Nobody went down to the basement alone. When the building was expanded and a new section was added, the phenomena were confined exclusively to the old part. It was as if the presence refused to cross into the modern wing. The air in the old section felt denser and colder, and sometimes the sound of boots dragging up the staircase could be heard. The investigator who worked there for years says the presence never moved into the new wing, and that, as far as he was concerned, was perfectly fine. Number 5. During the investigation of a 4-alarm fire in a large building complex, a fire investigator was moving through a smoke-filled hallway when a clear, calm male voice whispered directly into his ear, "Don't go any further." There was no one around. Seconds later, a ceiling beam collapsed exactly where he would have been had he kept walking. He returned to the exterior pale and visibly shaken. His colleagues had heard nothing. The voice sounded steady, like a veteran giving an order. The building collapsed shortly after. To this day, the firefighter doesn't know whether it was a fallen comrade or something else entirely. What is known is that that voice saved his life. Number 4. At the Denver Firefighters Museum, a visitor captured a photo through a second-floor window. In it, the corner of an old firefighter's coat is clearly visible, billowing outward, as if someone were leaning out. The window was locked from the inside. There was no balcony, no way for a person to physically be there. Veterans recognized the style of the coat. It belonged to an era long past, a firefighter who had died years before. The image circulated among the staff and became evidence that some uniforms are never truly retired. Those who visit the museum at night insist that, alongside the relics, there are presences that continue to stand watch. Number 3. At a construction site, a worker fell from height and became impaled on reinforcement rods. Firefighters arrived to find a horrifying scene. 3 metal bars had pierced his torso and one leg, blood pulsing out in slow, rhythmic surges. The man's internal organs were visible around the wounds. The rescue required cutting through metal with specialized tools while simultaneously controlling massive hemorrhaging. Incredibly, thanks to the firefighter's skill, the man survived. The scene was left marked by pools and splatter across the fresh concrete. This kind of accident is a brutal reminder of just how unpredictable a construction site can be. Number 2. Firefighters aren't only called for fires. In a rural area, after a storm, they responded to a report of a person trapped in farm machinery. Upon arrival, they found a man partially dismembered by a combine harvester. An arm and part of a leg had been torn clean off, leaving stumps with exposed arteries still pumping blood. Pools upon pools of blood mixed with rainwater covered the ground. The man was conscious but in deep shock, mumbling incoherently. This is what being a firefighter means. You handle dozens of scenes like this. In this case, they applied tourniquets while fragments of tissue and bone lay scattered all around. It was one of the most brutal and precise mechanical accidents they had ever witnessed. The blood soaked so deep into their gear that it took days to fully clean it out. Number 1. Firefighters were called to a railway where a woman had been struck by a train while trying to retrieve her phone from the tracks. Everything was captured on security cameras. When they arrived, they found an extensive pool of blood beneath the rails and, just a few meters away, a mass of exposed intestines alongside the victim's intact heart, separated from the rest of the body. The impact had dismembered the torso with a macabre precision, leaving organs scattered like pieces of an infernal puzzle. The firefighters worked in silence to recover the remains while blood still dripped between the iron rails. None of them ever forgot the image of that heart, still recognizable several meters from the main torso. The body had no recognizable face. That incident is recounted at stations as one of the most disturbing for its sheer rawness. All of it over a cell phone. It proved that some calls demand not just physical strength, but extreme emotional restraint. That is what it means to be a firefighter. Whether in the form of bloody horror or supernatural horror, horror accompanies them on every single call. We want to dedicate this list to every firefighter in the world and thank them for their selfless service. They are the first to run toward danger when everyone else is running away, risking their lives, often for salaries that don't reflect their true worth. To all of them, our deepest respect. And to any firefighters watching this video, what was the most disturbing story you ever lived through? Share it in the comments, and don't forget to mention where you're from. Today, this space is for you. This has been Doros. Good night.